broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers. Man, what a great song. You are watching the HBO's Looking after show, Season 2, Episode 8, called Looking for Glory. I'm your host, Kylie Hodges, and you know the drill. If you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube, chat on the chat roll. We are live right now. Don't forget to find us on SoundCloud and iTunes as well. And we've got another full panel tonight.
Yay!
We got Ronnie Jr. on the phone. How you doing, Ronnie?
I'm doing good. I listened to that Jesse Ware song like 800 times. Yes.
We're loving it.
Yeah. So good.
And all my co-hosts in person. Yay. Let's introduce ourselves.
Hey guys, I'm Scott Moore.
Hi guys, I'm Blake McIver.
Hey everyone, I'm Kellie Knezovich.
And sorry, my phone was literally under my leg vibrating. There's an Amber Alert. Not my fault.
I got it earlier.
I know, I did too.
So that startled me because it's
scary.
a little close
like,
to the middle where the leg was made. Anywho.
I'm like, speaking of close to the middle.
Yeah.
Right. It's a perfect transition.
Yeah,
for this
actually,
episode.
we got some full frontal, all up in some business. We started off in Patrick's bed with some naked boy cuddling situations with Pat and Kevin. Pat was really cute. He tried to make breakfast and dropped everything.
It doesn't surprise me that happened.
Right,
though.
Exactly. It's total Patrick right there.
It was cute. It reminded me of me. I've done that 1,000 times. I got butterfingers. And they're a couple. That's such a coupley thing.
It is.
Kev trick.
Yeah.
Kev trick.
It's happening.
Oh god. Kev trick.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a thing right now.
Yeah.
What do we think of them as a couple right now?
honestly, I'm very surprised that they have been so open, especially in the workplace, with their relationship.
Well,
dude, yes.
Yeah. Although I know, obviously he was reluctant at first, Kevin.
But I mean, how long has it been? Like a couple of weeks? Like
right.
2 weeks or something?
That's the thing that I'm wondering is the time, because that was when I was watching this episode, I was thinking like it seems like it was moving very quickly, but I don't know if there's a time.
There has to be.
Well, they said
that it was past.
Patrick had said like we've been holed up in my apartment like a couple of gay nuns.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long. There were some great
lines.
Yeah. I don't know how long that means.
And the courtesy gap. I mean, which
I
thought was great.
That was fantastic.
That's a good phrase, but actually, as soon as he said it, I was like, oh, I don't need him to define that. I know exactly what he means, and that's a real thing.
Right, right. But I liked that it was called the courtesy gap because it kind of fit in with the whole British thing. Like I always think of mind the gap,
Yes, exactly.
So that's what I was trying to figure out. Like, well, how long has it been, and what is that courtesy gap?
I thought. To me, I took this as the morning after he showed up on his front step.
Right, that's what I originally thought too, but then I thought, crap, they're moving fast.
Yeah,
yeah, that would have been.
I wish there was something at the beginning that was like 5 weeks later, or something that gave us some time frame.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of perception of time on this show.
No. I'm just figuring it's post-Halloween, and that's about where we're at right now.
There you go.
Pre-Thanksgiving.
Somewhere in November.
I thought like you. I thought it was just a week also. I mean, not a week. I thought it was the next day also. We're not sure about that answer?
Well, it's hard to say only because the reason I'm unsure about it is because then when we see them at work following this scene, Owen, the coworker, is like, so what happened? When is it that you two hooked up? And the way Patrick's told the story was, well, I got in a car accident and here I am.
Which he was also seemed like he was healed too, like because he was in that sling in the last episode, and then he wasn't. So then I thought,
well, and also for a time code comparison, we've got in this episode we've got Dom opening the window. So all we knew was that Doris was going to give him the money. So that would have taken weeks at least.
Exactly. But it's
time moves fast in the land of looking.
I think I'm still just very shocked that that their relationship was public to the coworkers. I just feel like they would try to hide it.
Well, I mean, that's sort of what Kevin wanted, and Patrick didn't. So that's why.
But I mean, it's just him wearing his shirt or his sweater.
The conduit was the bulldog sweater.
Yeah. Right.
No, I was just not a fan of the way that it was presented to everyone.
Oh, I think that was the most uncomfortable scene on the show.
It's totally.
But even though Kevin presented it that he didn't want to be known, he was the one who, after the coworker asked about the sweater, he was the one who said, "Oh yeah, because I was there this morning." So he kind of like pushed and, like you said, made it uncomfortable.
It was
his
totally
awkward
weird.
moment, right?
It was totally weird. It was kind of like this bashful, like.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like if a couple was about to announce that they're getting married. They're like, well, you know, I mean, we were in Sonoma this weekend, and
exactly.
it was just very.
And look
odd.
at what I have, you know.
And like.
Well, all of it was awkward because even like the coworkers were like, "Wait, so John is done?" Like, so I mean, the coworkers are still. So whether it was the next day or a week later, it's still like fresh as
Still
no one knows.
Right.
Kevin kind of finishing up with John and then just jumping right into Patrick.
Exactly.
So
And
it's kind of
exactly.
confusing for everybody, the whole room.
Well, it wasn't. I think again, it was because Kevin didn't want everyone to know that way and everything, but Patrick was very insistent on, like you said, the cloister nun thing. Like he didn't want to live like this anymore, so he wanted everybody to know, and so he was forcing that.
And
on
what about
Kevin and the work.
what about the straight female coworker outbursts?
That was
Then I
hilarious.
found out that she ran straight to HR. I'm like, I thought it was a joke, and then then the follow-up scene was like, oh no, she was for real. I was like, okay, all right, girl, you get your justice.
And like, where do they draw the line in that workplace? I feel like in my company, that's
You
not the way you
couldn't
go
with a
about
boss.
it.
Yeah, you couldn't with the.
Not at all.
But they were just like, she went to HR.
Yeah.
She's stupid. Like, and then that's that.
All right.
But then you're thinking, okay, it's a
And
tech company, it's small.
She was the coworker. Wasn't she the coworker originally that they thought was the butch lesbian
With the
originally, and then she was with the guy or something like that? That was the same girl, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
I
Meredith?
forgot about that.
Yeah, I did forgot about that too. But
It's-
I
yeah.
always remember that scene because that's when there was some butt touching in the office.
Yeah,
That's right.
You can
And
never forget
speaking of
butt
butts,
touching, can you?
Speaking of butts, Russell, what's his name, Tovey or whatever, he was sure in the news a lot lately, but his butt was sure in this scene.
Yep.
We are going to get to that.
That was a pretty strong ass.
Yeah, we actually Blake did a little bit of research, and we're gonna discuss all the controversy around Russell a little later.
Story
Two
continues,
from last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one last thing about this horribly awkward couple announcement scene at work. Didn't Meredith say that John was like doing something for her, like doing her a favor, or was that Owen?
Chiropractor. Yeah.
Yeah,
She was like,
yeah.
can I still go to him to like get my
exactly,
adjustments? I'm like,
right.
oh god.
Awkward. Even more
Can
awkward.
we stop?
Yeah, it was very odd. I like as soon as that scene started, I was like, I don't want to see this anymore. Just make it stop. Then after that, we have Dom and Doris and Malik at his new chicken window. He finally has the window.
Yay.
Yay, go Dom. Making progress in life. And it's a classic story, a line of Dom and Doris, the two best friends, and one of the best friends falls in love, and then the friendship starts to
Yeah, it's
strain.
that clash, exactly,
It's
because
starting
now
to get messy.
It's interesting though, because I thought that once you grow up, that doesn't happen as much. I don't know. I that feels like a very high school thing. Like my best friend got a boyfriend.
I mean, what they're like 40, right?
Yeah, and they live
and
together.
they still live together. So I mean, I think maybe they may be 40, but I think they're still young and you know, mentally.
But let's be honest, like high school transcends the rest of your life. You know, you get people that are bitchy and catty and fight, and it's that basic behavior repeats itself for the rest of your life. So you can't quite escape it. So
and now we know that this relationship went all the way back, way back, to pre-high school.
Exactly.
So those dynamics are ingrained.
Yeah, exactly.
I loved this conference, this gamer
X.
GAY.
Yes.
Is that a real thing? I'm not a gamer at all.
There are things like that.
I think that is a real thing, but maybe not so much like the whole app thing. I could be wrong.
Because we have like BentCon in LA.
Not behind the scenes, but with the show creators that they run on HBO on the YouTube channel. There's definitely that conference. They said a lot of the scenes were sort of glorified, and some of the apps were, of course.
Right.
Well, the glorified.
Oh my God, that's so great.
Glorified. Yeah,
glorified. Yeah.
Generally, they do have that conference, and I believe it is actually in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So that kind of worked out.
Very
Can you imagine if you saw someone had a cell phone and you saw they had an app that said glorified, and you're like, oh, what's that? And they're like, oh, it's just a glory hole.
Yeah, locator.
So I meet my friends.
Yeah.
That I just know what their lips look like.
Oh my god. It's really funny though. Like I kind of wish that was an app, just because I wouldn't use it.
I know, I was
but
gonna
I
say,
feel like
wait,
I would
really?
download
You
it
wish
just
it was
because
an
I
app
would
for
be like, really? I'm near this many
boy.
glory holes? Wow. Don't worry, guys. I'm not going to use
opened
them.
up to you.
Yeah, it's a whole new world.
Literally.
Guys, I've learned. We were talking about this before the show, Ronnie. That Kelly and I were both talking about how since we aren't in the gay community, we're learning a lot through the show.
We
And this
are.
episode opened up a lot. Like, well, we can jump right into it. Augustine and Eddie, their dynamic this episode was interesting because they had sex. Augustine freaked out, thought he had HIV because he got a little splash in the eye.
Little splooge in the eye.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it happens from time to time.
Right.
And, you know, he's instantly like, I think I'm HIV positive. Dom tries to sort of talk him off a ledge. But then, like, Eddie can see through that. He can see through
Totally.
his, no, it's fine, I'm cool with it.
Well, we've got a lot of important dynamics going on here.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, to have a sex scene on television with a negative character and a positive character having safe sex on camera, that's just huge right there.
Oh,
Like that's
yeah.
like
Very
that's
big thing.
milestone. Like
Yeah.
bravo
Right.
to everyone. But then now the layering, now the fear, now the, you know, we were in a safe situation that then turned potentially unsafe really quickly, but probably not. And so now it becomes more about the politics of what does positive culture versus negative culture mean in the community.
Yeah.
And honestly, I felt like it was fair on both ends. You know, I think it's fair for Eddie to kind of, you know, even when he tries to get close to somebody, he kind of like pushed Augustine away from the very beginning because he knew situations like this would arise. He's been through it. We get it. But then even on Augustine's level, like he, you know, you can't blame him for not knowing, you know, his you know, boundaries or whatever, or things that are going to make him feel a little bit awkward. Again, quoting the Inside the Series, you know, the show creators, they said that they made it kind of extreme, you know, by having the stuff in his eye, but it was a really good way to really just like hit you with that awkwardness, you know, and for Augustine to just kind of be shooken up by that. But I thought Dom was such a good friend in the way he kind of like helped him. Kind of some tough love, but I really like Dom's character in that moment.
Right, and a very just simple explanation, like kind of like get over it in a way, in a nice, loving way of being like it's, you know, I like the way it was handled too.
It's, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Okay. I really think that that's exactly what Augustine needed to hear too, because I think he's kind of like Patrick in this moment because he's freaking out, of course, thinking the worst thing possible.
Right.
But then Dom kind of brings him back to reality and is like, snap out of it. You're fine. And I think that that's what he needed to hear because we haven't really seen Augustine get nervous or scared or react this way.
Yeah.
No, exactly. That's what I think was so great about it. If it would have been any other character, it maybe would have been like, okay, that's, you know, nerves that you would have. But Augustine has been the guy who's been junky. Augustine's been the guy who's been wild. Augustine's been. So I really like the way that they showcase this. Even that person, you know, will feel completely comfortable, completely informed or whatever, but, you know, things do happen. So I really like that a lot.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
It was
it's really
very
well
real.
done.
It made me put myself in Augustine's
Right.
shoes because I was like, oh, what would I do if I was in his situation? I would probably be the way he was. I would try and act
Right.
cool and then realize that I'm not cool and I need to talk about this with him.
And Augustine was such a champ too. The way he said, "Yes, okay, fine, I did that, but I'm going to try to, you know, because I care about you." So that, you know, really, I didn't even, you know, looking at the beginning of the season and then to now, I would have never guessed their two dynamic went the way that it did. So it was very impressive.
Right,
Yeah.
and again, I loved his character arc and how he's grown this year. And I love how Eddie could see through that too. You know, when he went and
let's
saw
talk about that. Let's talk about
He's
the
no
reaction.
bullshit.
Yeah, I really love that.
And I would like to put a slight bookmark just for our later conversation. In Eddie's response, actually, the word prancing was used to describe the West Hollywood homos.
Yeah, okay, so
Yes, so
dive
like-
into that because I asked you before the show started, I was like, is this some sort of the same thing as like the East Coast, West Coast rap wars? Like the San Francisco gays are
versus
feuding
the
with the
LA
West Hollywood
gays,
gays?
I would say it's the Castro-WeHo
Yeah, I was
divide.
going to say, exactly, yes.
That is news to me. I didn't know that there was such a stigma on one or the other? What's
Kylie, I was out of it too. I was gonna have to ask one of the guys. Like I wasn't sure what that even meant. So thank you for the tutelage.
So what do San Francisco gays think about West Hollywood gays?
Okay, San Francisco gays look at West Hollywood gays as, you know, tan, waxed, tank top wearing, lispy, effeminate.
Incredibly superficial.
Materialistic.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, the blonde bimbos of the gay community.
Sure.
Basically, which, as we all know, living in LA, there's gay comes in every size and shape and type, and
There's a few of those, yeah.
But yeah, just that Santa Monica Boulevard thing.
Yeah.
You know, and the Castro, it is, having spent a lot of time in the Castro, it's a much more open-minded, and you get a lot more types, and it's a much more inclusive neighborhood. It's actually a lot more fun. Sorry, Wes. Sorry, WeHo.
It is. I will agree with that. It is a lot more fun and it is a lot more
I love going
open.
out. I love going out in the gay community in San Francisco.
I wonder if this episode, that line stirred a pot. Like, what if there's some sort of Twitter war now?
Twitter definitely, they were on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it started a thing.
Wow.
But now, speaking of kind of stirring the pot, I don't know if it was just me, but how did you guys take it when Augustine was just kind of said, well, for whatever reason, I'm into you? It just, I don't know why it came across negative to me in a weird way. It didn't come across as like, I like you because of this or that. It just felt like, oh, for whatever reason, I'm into you. And it just was weird to me. So I don't know if you guys felt that way too.
I felt the exact same way. And I was surprised that Eddie didn't react negatively to him saying that. So I was waiting for Eddie to be like, whoa,
yeah, that's
some
what I was
reason?
thinking too. Because, I would have thought there would have been...
Wait, I watched it a couple times. What are you guys saying? Because I didn't catch that.
So it was when... Eddie tried to break it off with Augustine, and then Augustine kind of was like, "No, we can do this." And I can't remember the line that Eddie said leading up to it.
I can't either, but I just remember.
This is bad timing.
I know, but I just remember Augustine coming back with, "Oh, for whatever reason, I'm into you," and it just, I don't know, it was the way it was said at that moment that didn't come across to me as very positive.
I think it was after.
I playfully thought it was the opposite. I thought it was more just going off his. Being kind of shooken up about the whole situation and him trying to grow and learn. I didn't see it as that, but maybe...
Yeah, that's why I was wondering if it was just me, because I would have thought, like, oh, you're worth it, or, because of that whole fear thing, that he would have had a different, wording or phrasing for that than, for whatever reason, I'm into you kind of thing. It just, I don't know, maybe it was just me but obviously you did too. You took it the same way.
Scott and I are a little more sensitive.
I know, apparently.
Well, Ronnie, I actually kind of saw it the same way you did. I saw it a couple times, and it didn't really strike me as anything negative. I actually kind of thought it was a sweet gesture, because I feel like Augustine, we kind of saw him being like the hookup type with Eddie. He wasn't really looking for a relationship. He just kind of wanted to get in Eddie's pants. And, this is a moment where he was kind of like, you know what, I do want to pursue this and see where this goes. I didn't look at it as like, how rude. How could you say that? I mean, maybe if I watch it now, knowing how you guys feel and how you said that, maybe I might see that, but it didn't cross my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like it was totally rude. I just thought it felt like a strange response to that situation. Yeah, it just felt like, okay.
But that also goes on like how they talked about earlier on a different episode where Patrick was worried about his health, and then Dom was talking to Lynn and saying, "Hey, is it insensitive because your widowed lover passed away because of the disease?" So like, it just throws all these awkward situations and vulnerable situations, and maybe they come out that way. That's why it is so odd to hear Augustine say it that way. It almost sounds rude. He's not trying to be, but it might sound that way.
Oh, Augustine.
Just a bunch of thoughts.
Yeah, good thoughts.
I'm really happy with the result of that situation.
Of Augustine
that they're making it work, and I like that they're sort of becoming a thing.
I do too.
Yeah, they're good for each other.
I didn't think I would like them together, but it's working.
It is working. I think it's because Eddie's character is great. He's very dynamic. He's fun and he's sassy, but he's no bullshit.
Exactly.
And he tells it like it is. And he's real.
Right.
And I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I do. I love having him there as a character.
He's a big old guy. Did he show his dong in this episode? What happened?
Yes, he did. He absolutely did.
We saw some wiener.
Wow, you guys got loud.
We were also talking about that before the show. Yeah, that was some full frontal Eddie Bear right there. We saw you, Eddie.
Yeah, no surprises there.
Delightful surprises.
Yeah.
Only.
Or it's just like leaving nothing to the imagination.
So we're at this Gamer X conference with Kevin and Pat, and they're like wearing their matching shirts and they're all excited about their app. And how like snotty is that guy?
I know.
That
wheelchair guy.
Yeah, well, him, everybody.
Yes,
actually.
but him especially.
Yeah.
The guy in the wheelchair
man.
for the glorified thing, calling them incest twins.
Yeah,
or,
brothers.
Yeah.
And,
It's kind of funny.
Boyfriend twins.
I
Yeah.
can relate to that because I get that a lot with Ryan. Yeah, where they think we look like brothers, and I'm like, no. But I don't know if people do that because I was always wondering if maybe people do that because they see a gay couple, sort of, I guess, maybe being affectionate, and so somehow
they just project that.
It's like, oh, they're brothers.
There is an entire Tumblr account dedicated to boyfriends who look like twins,
Oh,
so you can
okay,
check
we
it
don't
out.
look like twins,
Boyfriend
but-
twins. It's a thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah,
It's a real thing.
it is. That's why it was so perfect to have this mentioned
Did any
in
of
the
us
episode.
think? Did any of us think they actually looked alike? Or,
No.
I mean, 'cause I was
No.
like,
No, not at all.
No. But I get that, and I think that's what I was saying. Like people think that is. I mean, obviously not in the gay convention, but people out in public could maybe just think two guys being affectionate are related.
Ronnie, are you distraught?
No, I was just, I guess so. I don't have an answer.
He's like, I don't
just
like
was
this
like, leave him
incest.
alone. Let him just have. I wanted just Patrick to have his bliss, but he didn't get bothered by it. No, it was no problem.
Well, it seems like this world at this convention was very catty.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, like when Patrick was trying to sell his app, I can feel for him. I've dabbled in sales, and when
me too.
something doesn't go right, you know, you're left hanging dry, and you're
Right.
trying to salvage it, and this guy's just like, yeah, whatever, dude. So 2009, call me when you invent a better game, or, you know, whatever. It kind of seemed like they didn't really have a success, but this convention was more about working on their relationship than their
Yeah.
apps, truly.
Yes.
They
Right.
really didn't care that much. I suppose Patrick was a little sad when they read the one review that they had that was bad, but he also treated it like his real first prom. And they
Yes.
got a
And
hotel
that
room.
was
and
I
they
feel
got a
like that was
corsage.
kind of more the purpose of
Yeah.
this. It was like, okay, I get to
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
go back and relive my high school
Right.
prom days that weren't great, and I get to do it with my boyfriend who I love, type of thing, you know. And they were cute.
Yeah. It
All
was
their,
cute.
their
The
prom
boutonniere,
poses
the
yeah.
whole bit.
The nice
Well,
suits.
Andrew Haigh and what is it, Michael Lannon, the show's creators or whatever, back in inside the series clip, they also talked about that. They said how a lot of guys will be young and they'll have that facing situation where they can't go to prom with a guy or whatever, or they're not at that level. So it was kind of an homage to that situation. So I guess that's why they tried to really allow Patrick to own that.
It was cute.
Yeah.
And then we see Richie and Brady are there.
I did not expect
Of course, I'm like, how
I know.
convenient.
Yeah.
Brady.
The writers are like, we got it. We gotta get
Brady.
some more Brady in there.
Yeah.
We gotta upset Kylie. Brady's nice. There's no reason I shouldn't like him, really. I mean, I guess this episode he made me a little mad when he was drunk, but like in the grand scheme of things, he seems like a perfectly nice person. I'm just so team Richie.
Yeah.
That I'm like, you're in the way.
Yeah.
Step
But
aside.
how awkward was it that he was like, no, I want you to take me to the
Yeah.
bathroom because you sound like Mary Poppins.
It was so weird.
I mean, I get that he's like, oh, I
Messy
don't want my
Brady.
boyfriend to see me
Yeah.
drunk, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you are throwing up. But still, like, if you should feel comfortable with any of those three guys at the table, it should be your
Yeah.
boyfriend.
Yeah.
Well, he was saying it was like, oh, he's judgy and
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
So
It was weird and
I don't know.
awkward.
Totally weird.
But of course, it was a
And-
convenient way for him to exit, so
Oh.
they had their time
Fancy
together.
that.
Right.
Yes.
I was kind of expecting that to, like, if the scene cut to showing them in the bathroom, like a drunken Brady trying to hit on
Yeah.
Kevin.
That's what I was
what I thought too.
thinking too.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But no, it
Thank-
was all
thank
about
goodness.
Make it more awkward.
yeah. So it was more about just Richie and Patrick talking, and that was plenty awkward.
Right.
Richie being like, "So you took him back, okay?" What do you guys think of Richie's approach to asking Patrick about this?
Not much, but he says one or two words, asks one or two questions, and then gosh, Patrick just gives the whole scenario.
Just gives it up.
Yeah.
Just
Step
gives
by
it
step,
up.
Play by play.
He's clueless.
He's not your daddy.
Right. And I thought
I don't
Richie
think
was
your
really
dad wants to know either.
I thought Richie was really respectful about it. Like he could have been
Yeah.
way crappier about
Totally.
that conversation than he was.
I still just think it's very odd that ex-boyfriends are like double dating
That soon.
I mean,
no, I know. I did feel like it was very
little
soon,
forced.
and it does feel forced. And
But it was
much.
Kevin that asked for a double date, right?
Yeah, I do believe so. He was
So
like,
it
after
wasn't-
Yeah, but I
let's
felt
get
like it was
dinner.
sort of for him to do that because it was the jealousy thing. Because you could see in that scene there at the convention, he was just making sure like he's mine now, and I'm gonna show you.
Yeah.
You know, come on those double dates. That's what it came across.
Well,
to
and
me.
with his hesitation at the office,
Yeah.
then now we have a mirror to Patrick's
Exactly,
hesitation to say it out loud in
exactly.
front
Yeah.
of Richie. So it was
Right.
like, my turn to
Yep.
push you into something.
Interesting.
You don't get a turn, Kevin. No.
Yeah, actually.
You're like, no,
Not really.
No turn for you.
But he thought he deserved a turn.
Right.
And also, Kevin jokingly called Patrick a homewrecker gay at the conference, and I wanted to be like, oh,
Yeah. Careful.
he may be a homewrecker, but you are the cheater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Careful
Takes
the things
two
you say.
to tango, Mr. Kevin. You know, I like Richie, and it makes me. He seems sad that
He
they're
does,
together. But
but-
why are you with Brady?
Well, that's what I was thinking. I think it was the first time that you kind of saw that there was, the relationship with Richie and Brady is not as solid. This was,
No.
I felt like the first time
Yeah.
you saw that, you got to see, okay, it's
Well,
definitely
and
shaky.
let's talk about the big revelation moment
Right.
at the end of that scene where drunk Brady is divulging
oh God.
the BS that was
Yeah.
spewed
Yeah.
behind
Yeah.
their back.
Yeah.
Let's just get it all out in the open kind of thing. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Patrick, you're not actually a 12-year-old girl afraid of her own V, we'll say. Keep it classy on AfterBuzz. And
classy folk
and
here.
then even worse, and you guys aren't the what's wrong with the gay community. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that one was like
that
bomb.
cut deep. Salt in the wound right
Yes. So I was like, okay.
I did like that Patrick wasn't, Patrick was kind of asking for it, though. He
Yeah,
wasn't
totally.
like, oh, you guys are talking about us? Okay. And
Yeah.
he's like, no, like, tell me, what'd you
Yeah.
guys say? I want to know. And I was like, oh, you have the balls to kind of stand up to, I feel like Richie's kind of like the one that got away. So,
Totally.
you kind of have balls to stand up to him. It was kind of cool.
I mean, if
Also,
yeah, go ahead.
I also feel like Patrick was just embraced in the moment 100%. Like, I don't think he was. I mean, obviously he has his like old feelings for Richie, and obviously he wants to hear Brady this, that, and the other, and kind of just smirk at him. But I feel like he was just more so into Kevin, just like 100%, just like wanting to have his prom experience. So I think that's where his confidence came from.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
definitely laughed it off.
I would have
It was
been
not a fight.
furious.
Yeah.
I got mad just watching it. I was like, if I thought my ex was sitting with his new boyfriend joking about me and
Yeah.
my new boyfriend, I would be furious.
I wouldn't have
Like,
been able to mask
Well, I
him.
don't even know, and I don't even think I would be there. I'm not even sure
Yeah,
I'd be able
that's
to
true.
be at the
That's
why
table
are they
there
hanging
that
out so
soon.
much?
To begin with,
Right.
I would be miles away from my ex-boyfriend. In fact, we are states apart right now, and that's just how I like it.
Right.
This episode, man, it builds up. Okay, so Brady's drunk. He spills the shit talking to Kevin and Patrick, and then we're in the hotel room, and the big L word gets dropped. Accidentally,
Ba-bam.
kind of.
Yeah.
He says the casual, "Oh, I love you."
Yeah.
And then he made it weird.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have to make it
He
weird.
didn't, because he could have just left
but
it
he made it
casually.
weird.
But it's
Yeah.
it's in Patrick's nature to make
totally
it
Of
weird,
course.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, we say it all the time. Oh my God, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And if we said that to a boyfriend, and we may or may not have been at that stage yet, I think we would have been like, "Oh, I mean, you know what I mean." You
Yeah.
you wouldn't have just
Oh,
been
yeah.
like,
Love like not
okay,
love,
yeah,
love.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
love you.
You know,
I like love you.
Like love, yeah.
It's like
Love
that
ya.
new Carly Rae Jepsen song.
Oh,
I really,
no.
really,
I
really
think I
really
might like you.
Sorry, nothing against Carly. But the thing is, when Kevin was at Patrick's doorstep, he said to him, "I'm falling in love with you." Like, he already threw that out there. Which, what? Okay. You just left your dude, and now
Right.
you're dropping the L
Exactly.
word
It's
here
a
on my
little
front step.
quick.
Obviously, I'm not putting up with this. But, it was already out in the open, so it's just funny to me that Patrick made it weird, like it had never, ever been mentioned.
Yeah.
Because when that doorstep scene happened, I kind of was expecting Patrick to be like, "I love you too." Make out, go up the stairs. But he didn't say it back, so I guess it only makes sense that the next episode it happens.
Exactly.
We get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they crawl under the covers and happily ever after.
And you're like, and scene.
End scene.
Yep.
Roll credits. It was quite an episode.
It was. I think these past 2 episodes have just been really good.
Jam-packed for sure.
Yeah, just really well written. Lots of stuff going on and really, really good.
Yeah, this season is it's doing wonders. I'm liking it every episode more and more. Let's cut to news and gossip because I want to talk about this Russell Tovey thing.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Fill us in, Blake.
All right, so as we talked about last week, Russell got in some hot water for some comments he made in an interview with The Guardian, talking about effeminate gays. He said, I feel like I could have been really effeminate if I hadn't gone to the school I went to. If I had been able to relax, prance around, sing in the street, I might be a different person now. I thank my dad for that, for not allowing me to go down that path. There's that word prance again. I'm a prancer. I'm not afraid
Everybody
to say
should
it.
prance. It's
Everyone
good for
should.
you.
I love prancing.
Didn't the prancer size lady say that too?
Right? Prancer size.
Prancer size, come on.
Anyway, so
prancing's good for you.
Russell got into a lot of trouble. The internet lost its mind. And a few days later, he issued some apology tweets. He said, if you feel I have personally let you down, I'm sorry. That was never my intention. He said, I surrender. You got me. I'm baffled and saddened that a misfired, inarticulate quote of mine has branded me worst gay ever. I'm proud to be who I am and proud for others. We're in this together, and I want you to know whatever you think I meant, I didn't. A lot of people felt like that apology was not a real apology, that was just, I'm sorry you felt that way, or I'm sorry you misinterpreted my comments. And then it got kind of ugly when Chris Geidner, the legal editor of BuzzFeed, tweeted back, not sure the best way to start an apology is by mocking those who have been criticizing you, but I'm glad Russell isn't ignoring it all.
Oh, boy.
What do y'all think?
Ronnie, did you know about this?
Yeah, I was reading it. Yeah, I saw him the critique against him, and then the way he responded back. Yeah, I saw it all.
I get it. Technically, that's not an apology. But to me, I was interpreting his follow-up comment as like, he is sorry. I think he's just very saddened. And yeah, in my opinion, that's not really an apology.
I think he is not sorry for what he said or how he felt, but I think he may be sorry that it escalated into this huge issue. I don't think he meant for that to happen. I don't think he's saying, oh, I'm sorry I felt that way. Because those are his feelings, and I think that he's entitled to his feelings.
Yeah.
I agree with Kylie. Like, what should he be sorry for? I mean, hopefully that's not I don't want to offend anyone necessarily, but like I don't think that was his situation, and that was what was beneficial to him, and he likes the man he's become because of it, and that was maybe a rude way of saying it, but it created who he was, and I don't know. I didn't really. His apologies were not awesome, but what he said initially, although harsh, I didn't have a problem with it necessarily.
A quote like that is something that can be really easily twisted, though.
Yeah.
And he.
Well, was everyone? What were in the room here? Was everyone offended, or did you guys agree with this comment initially? The actual comment itself.
Well, here's the tricky thing. I was disappointed with it.
Yeah, I don't like the comments.
I don't like the comment, and I was disappointed. But the problem is, I can't expect all of my gay actors to be the perfect gay activists, and I think we have a problem in our community with expecting them all to be perfect. Not everyone's going to be Jussie Smollett on Ellen yesterday, giving the perfect coming out, most beautifully, eloquently said, like
that was great.
you could engrave it in stone forever. It was so well, not everyone can be that, and not everyone is that.
No.
So,
and we can't expect that,
know.
But I wasn't offended per se. I just didn't like.
I didn't like it. That's a good way of.
Yes.
Maybe I don't have the exact information. Blake, what was the exact comment that offended everybody? Like, what did he say that was so bad?
Well, he said it was in talking about his own life, how his dad wasn't going to let him go to this specific theater school. He thought that's what his sort of straight acting appeal has come out of, that he wasn't effeminate, and he used the words prancing around, singing in the street.
And if he went to that theater school, that he could have been that, which
would have been a more effeminate homosexual,
right? Which
not helping the stereotypes.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean that would happen because he went to so it's just a whole bunch of things.
Then it brings up questions that make it even more awful and awkward.
It sounds like he just kind of got lazy in that response and wasn't really thinking and just said what was on the top of his head.
Right.
Yeah.
Womp,
I mean, the only part that I really, sorry to not, keep on it, but the only part that it's just, to me, it kind of allowed for there to be different layers and different, different types of men, in the gay community or whatever. So that to me was
right. But
I don't know.
Right, then there is, and that's. But I don't think that's the point of what his comment was suggesting.
I guess for me, like I said, I struggled with myself for such a long time. So I feel like thinking back, a lot of my childhood was. I don't want to say that I would have said that. No, I wouldn't have used those words at all. But I know that there's parts of me that struggled to, 30 years old before I even, told my mother about who I was as a person.
Right.
So I know a lot of my straight acting, whatever you want to call it, situations are based on, the blue collar values, this, that, and the other. So I guess the part that I liked about it was now that allows for another representation, and the people can look up to it and be like, well, not look up to it, but people can look at it and say, hey, oh, okay, I also went through that. That's the part that I like. You guys get that at least? I'm not trying to say that.
No.
I understand what you're saying.
I understand what you're saying, and again, we're not questioning that part of it and him being who he is. It's the part of the comment by saying if he went to this theater school that somehow he would be more effeminate and that there's something that could be wrong with that. That's what I'm saying is that it's the loaded comment that has certain connotations and
Trust
stereotypical
me, it's not
things
theater
to
school
it.
that makes you prance.
Right. So,
I've been prancing on television since I was 6 years old.
It leads to bigger issues of then you're talking about choices and people are behaving because of certain influences and things like that. And it was just a loaded comment. And it's not anything to do with him, which is, he can be who he is, and that's great. There's all types of us in the community. It's just the negativity that could be associated with that comment, that's all.
Right on. Yeah, they could prance in jail. They could prance anywhere in the cheerleading group. Prancing could be anywhere. And yeah, come on.
All right.
All right. We had a friendly discussion about it. You guys educated me a little. I liked this.
I'm kind of glad that this became a controversial topic because honestly, if I read that quote, I don't think it would have occurred to me that was offensive. But then when you guys spelled it out for me, I was like, oh, I get it. That's a real stereotype. And the thing is, that's a stereotype that we are still seeing in conversation on a daily basis out here. And even in Los Angeles, even in West Hollywood, you can still hear people referencing gays in that stereotype, and it's so casual, and it's like, okay, hold on, let's take a step back and really look at you guys are people too, and you're all different. We are all different people, so
just like straight people.
I prance all the time. All right. Whoa, enough of this.
We can talk forever about this.
I'm tired. Let's move on to predictions.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Ooh. All right. Ronnie, what's your prediction for next week?
Sorry to all the other characters. I'm not going to think about them next week, but I think Dom is going to be faced, again, a financial, and I think that's going to cause his emotions to want to reach out to Lynn, and I think he's going to reach out to Lynn, and then I think he's going to really make a run for him. I don't know why I think all that, but I do.
I love that prediction.
That's great.
I want more Lynn.
I do too. Looking for Lynn.
Spin-off. Kelly, what are your predictions?
Ronnie, I think you are spot on. I feel like next week is going to be a lot more about Dom and Doris. I think there has forever been a wedge placed between their friendship. So I don't know how it's gonna turn out. I don't think well unless Malik is out of the picture. But still, in that case, I think they've already kind of had this history of Malik kind of separating them a little bit. I have no idea about Kevin and Patrick. We have 2 episodes left. I don't know what's gonna happen. I do think that Richie and Brady will somehow
dissolve.
Be done. Yeah.
Yes.
Be finished.
Nice. How about you, Blake?
I think Eddie and Augustine are going to have an interesting, follow-up to this episode. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing sort of how, now that they've gotten over, or sort of starting to get over this mini crisis, how that will evolve, and hopefully their relationship will step up to the next level. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm hoping too, because it'll be interesting, because I'm not sure if he's there for the long term, or because we've talked about it in previous episodes. Right. For me, I feel like the Kevin and Patrick thing is just moving so fast, and I'm like, are they setting us up for a big crash and burn? Because I wasn't even expecting them to be together so quickly until maybe the end of the season or something like that. So the fact that they've set this up and they're already going with the I love yous, and I'm like, oh my God. So I feel like between that and the fact that we still have Richie in there, and we saw their relationship with Brady kind of we saw the holes in that relationship. So I'm wondering how this is going to end. If it's going to be a crash and burn, and then we're going to see either Patrick alone, or are the writers setting us up that Richie's going to be down the line, like who he's supposed to end up with? I don't know. It's interesting, but I'm feeling like the Kevin and Patrick thing is not going to go well.
In my opinion, yes, Richie is meant to be.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, is this the way they're trying to set it up, like down the road, like long term? Are they supposed to end up together, kind of thing?
I have said this since the day Patrick and Kevin first hooked up. This is not going to end well, and it will end.
Right.
And it won't be pretty.
You think it will end at the end of the season?
I think there will be a rocky road. I don't know if it will end.
If it'll end this season, but yeah,
there will be problems, and I think that we're going to see.
Way.
Well, I guess next week we have 2 more episodes left of the season, but before the season ends, I feel like John is gonna show up.
Oh God!
Like, I feel like he's gonna be like, I'm not done with you yet.
Yeah.
Like, you can't drop me like that for your side chick at work.
Yeah, it was almost too easy. It was almost too easy.
Exactly. That's why I do feel like they're setting this
There's
up to crash and burn here and have this big storm.
And also, Patrick has not learned to love himself yet.
No. And like we've said all along, he needs that time.
He needs to be single.
He needs that time.
I know. Patrick is the side chick, but he's making himself Cinderella.
That's true.
Patrick also needs to figure out how to not be so weird about dating your boss at work. Oh, I hated that scene.
Okay, it's weird to date your boss, period.
I was gonna say, maybe just don't even date your boss.
Just like Chloe, like, guys, I'm wearing Kevin's sweater because we're sleeping together. It was weird. All right, thank you for calling in, Ronnie. Where can everybody find you on social media?
Everything's at Randomly Ronnie Jr.
Great. Have a great evening in New York.
It's
And
not cold anymore.
Yay!
Oh, Mazel
Spring's
tov.
come to New York too.
Bye.
The groundhog brought you spring.
Yay.
Bye. Kelly, where can everybody find you?
Y'all can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Kellie Knez.
And on Twitter and Instagram at Blake McIver.
And I'm on Twitter at sman80, that's SMAN80, and on Instagram at thescottmoore80. And you can check out my fun little AfterBuzz Spotlight on interview with Sam Richardson, who now has a full series pickup on Veep this season.
Yay.
And Thursday nights here with Archer. So
Nice.
Yay.
Follow me on Twitter at the Kylie Hodges and Instagram, just Kylie Hodges. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are so excited for next week.
Yes.
See you
2 episodes left.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.